So everyone's chasing views. But if we had to grow from nothing to $1 million exit today, we'd use one or more creators, not ads.
Wait, doesn't attention equal money?
Not anymore, because feeds have become the new TV. The show never ends, but the checks stop when you stop. So by the end of this video, you're going to see why feeds actually devalue your work, the data behind it, and how a developer plus creator equity deal turns rented attention into a sellable asset instead.
So first, the facts on how everything became television, then the trap that's keeping you broke, and finally, the exit-only play that turns things in your favor.
Something spooky is happening in media, which is that everything that is not already television is turning into television. And actually, before we jump into the data, I feel like I should go on a little aside here and let our younger viewers know what television was actually like back in the day. So you had free-to-air television where you basically flick a channel. You know, I think in Australia we had channel 2, channel 7, 9, 10, and 11, right? Small country. We only had like 5 TV channels. Tom's going to tell you about cable in a second, but you would flick to it and then things would just stream, right? You couldn't pick what you wanted to watch apart from changing channel. Whatever was broadcast at that time was just being run. And you didn't really care too much because it was free. It was just there and you couldn't choose anyway. And it would just be show after show after show with ads interspersed in between. And that's what television is. I know in the US they have cable, Tom. It worked a little differently, right?
Not too much, man. Like what it did is just create social classes a little bit. So you had the class 1, which only seen the free-to-air, because everyone had that, right? And typically the way you thought about free-to-air is you're watching more commercials than movie. So like there would be a 2-hour movie, 45 minutes of that commercials, you know, in between the movie, everything cut through, which is funny because I remember seeing some of those movies recently that I seen when I was a kid.
They're a lot shorter now.
And they're completely different. They cut out so much back then that I realized I seen 45 minutes of the movie, which is like 1 hour and 30 because they made room for commercials. So the second class would be like the kids with the cable, right? But they weren't in the third class anymore because there were premium cable channels, right? HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, like ones which you paid extra per month to get each channel, right? So you typically knew which group you're in by the type of shows you talked about. And the funny thing was back then, was that we all gathered around the show, like the whole, not like just a couple of kids, like the whole school would know about this. Yeah, right. So when The Sopranos came out, you all knew what The Sopranos are. Everyone's watching The Sopranos. You just know which social circle you're in. Is whether you're getting The Sopranos on DVD in a Blockbuster a couple of weeks later, or you know about it when it first came out. But you all know. So unlike now, trends were much stronger because it's not like you're all in your little funnels watching your interests, right? You're just watching what is presented to you. If The Sopranos are the biggest thing, that's what you're watching.
Yeah. And television was all professionally produced and created content that basically everyone would consume, right? And it's quite different from now in that, or what we perceive as now, rather, when social media, when Facebook became a thing, we were promised that, hey, people are more interested in what's going on in their neighbor's backyard than in a professionally produced television production. And that was social media, the first incarnation. But Meta recently told a federal court that Instagram friend content is actually only about 7% of your feed, right? Most of the time, you have an AI recommended or algorithmically recommended video. It's maybe, 17% friends content, and the rest is video or posts or views or articles or whatever from people that you don't know. Social media isn't really social anymore. It's just straight up television, right? And YouTube is actually now, according to The Verge, the #1 podcast platform in the world. Video podcasts dominate discovery and watch time. Audio only stuff, it's dying. Video podcasts growing about 20 times the speed that it was before. And again, we keep coming back to the power law on this show. A tiny slice of video capture all the attention. It's really winner take all. So 94% of YouTube views come from 4% of videos. 89% of TikTok views come from 5% of videos. That's crazy if you think about it. Now, for creators, what that means is that more posting actually doesn't get you any compounding because the feeds reward output, but they do not grant you ownership, right? AI is promoting your content based on its initial engagement, not the amount of effort or the amount of value that go into the video. So the goal of all these platforms is to provide professionally curated entertainment that keeps people scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling more and more. And if all your social feeds are now television, you're basically just giving free programming to someone's channel all the time, right? So you post something, your attention depreciates in 24 to 72 hours, a couple of days. But at the end of it, you're left with nothing. No equity, no ownership, no long-term asset at all. So that kind of brings about an interesting question, which is, if attention is so fleeting nowadays, why are creators all still chasing it?
Before we go into the second point, if you really think about it, your goal and the platform's goal as a creator is completely opposite. So the platform, it wants to keep the zombies scrolling. You as a creator, you want to stop the zombies from scrolling and pay attention. This is the same thing with ads and with any promotional stuff that you do, right? And then what's funny too is that now the content has split off in two different directions, right? You have long form, which people consume. And this is typically like the more thoughtful stuff, the podcast, something like Joe Rogan, you will watch on your, big TV in a living room or at work on the side, right? And then you have your toilet content, which is just the shorts. And what's funny is like the creators now, and we've talked about this behind the scenes a bit, they're sometimes now creating two different channels to hit each one of these distribution things, right? You will have your toilet feed.
Smart creators are doing that.
And your living room feed, right? So the toilet feed, you're really trying to stop the zombies from scrolling, pay attention to you so then they can remember you and see you on the longer form where they will actually listen to you and you can sell them things, right? Shorts, and this is why TikTok, I'm not talking about the longer stuff now. That's like CV, what's that one where what was that channel that sold things the entire night?
QVC.
Yeah, that one. So they have that type now, which is different. That's like people like live stream and sell things. But the short videos, their conversions are horrible. We've tried it across many different fields, right? And that's because people don't actually trust you or care about what you're saying. They just want to get entertained.
Be entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like very different types of content too. And we can move into point 2 now.
All right. So let's talk a bit about the trap of sponsorships and ad payouts, where you kind of get cash now, but you don't really get anything later.
So some creators, they can pull, 8 to 20K per Instagram post, but the key here is some. And even there, the deals are inconsistent. So the value dies with the post. And I don't even want to think about the 80% bottom creators that post daily and just get a couple dollars in payouts. Because I learned recently, because we only really focus on, equity deals and then we talk about sponsorships, but there's this thing called a payout, which for like 1,000 views, Facebook will give you 30 cents. Or I think YouTube, it's this was actually funny. I don't know if we can find this somewhere to put in an episode, but they had a Justin Bieber music video that I think clocked 100 million views. And he maybe made $4,000 from it, from the payout. It was just some ridiculous number that I've seen. I was like, oh, that's what payouts are for. So here's a problem. If we're talking about sponsorships now, the payouts was just the funny thing. You typically don't get the same amount of deals every month, right? It's one of those feast and famine industries, right? Like any service business. So even if you do get 10K per post, that might translate to like $2,000 to $5,000 per month on average. Because one month you got it, second month you did not. So there's no enterprise value. Investors will never come to you. There's no exit. There is a new type of bottom feeder that comes to these people. And they offer partnerships and money, but it's just a high percentage loan. But the way they pitch it, because I've been asked by a few of them to help, pitch this product, and I was like, okay, it's a loan shark, right? I'll give you $20K to help you grow your business as a partnership. You pay me back 30.
Interesting. Yeah, that's basically loan shark. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, even that only happens for some creators. Like based on our research, you need around 100 to 300,000 followers to even consider being this average, hopefully make $2,000 to $5,000 per month creator, right?
You need to be, if you're on Instagram, that's like mid-tier, right?
Mid-tier, yeah. So the question
like
to
the
ask
low end
yourself,
of mid-tier. Yeah.
What if one deal paid you for years, even if you posted less? Remember, when you post for pay, you're renting your audience. When you own equity, your work compounds. So sponsorships, they rent your audience. Ownership is what compounds your work and makes an exit possible. So how do you flip this?
You flip this using an exit-only play, which means you take a developer and a creator and an investor and you bring it together. So developers have product and AI leverage. Creators have distribution and trust. When you put the two together, you're going to be able to trade equity for distribution, right? So you can grow faster than if you ran paid ads, and you can purposely design a business for exit. So here's a quick 1-minute mini playbook that we can give you. The first thing is you find some alignment. So you have one partner, be a developer, who brings a simple B2C app with a clear must-have feature. You have a creator who brings an audience that fits the app, right? And we're not just talking about having audience reach, we're talking about a good fit for the niche or the industry or the feature that the app is in. You create a small structure. You say, okay, you're going to get a bit of cash and a bit of small equity. This is the creator. It could be 0.25%, it could be 1%, could depend on performance. And you agree on, say, a quarterly vesting schedule or something like that, or quarterly activations. Then you measure, you track LTV on campaigns run using the creator's audience. You look at retention as well. Then you find a path to an exit, right? So we know that investors prefer categories with active buyers. So, in the app space, that's going to be SaaS, or in the e-commerce space, that's like niche e-commerce. And they typically want to see 18 months of earnings for the best valuations. And I actually have an interesting example of this. So one of my wife's friends is a Japan-based creator who publishes Japanese cultural content for an English language audience in the US and Europe. And what he did was he recently partnered with a traditional B2C crafted goods company here in Tokyo, actually, that had products, had a factory, had everything, but didn't have distribution. So I won't give away who he is or what the particular company is, because probably wouldn't want people ripping him off. But think, ninja stars and samurai swords, right, for a Western audience, that kind of thing. So basically, the company is able to grow. He's been able to scale his income as part of the company to over 6 figures very, very quickly. They handle all the product, all the shipping, all the logistics, all that stuff, and he focuses on the marketing to his audience and growing his content. The faster his audience grows, the more product they sell, the more everyone wins. Equity deal all around, right? Now, that's a niche B2C e-commerce play, focused e-commerce, like we just talked about. And the exact same thing applies to focused B2C apps as well.
So when it comes to distribution, the right creator can replace a marketing team. Equity makes it worth their while. Investors like clean, provable distribution. And I'll let Aaron go into the power law since he loves it so much.
I do. So if you guys remember, 94% of YouTube views come from 4% of videos. 89% of TikTok views come from 5% of videos. Winner takes all. The attention is just the reality of social media. So don't compete on posts, compete on ownership instead. And the goal is really a check that you can cash when the company exits, not when you post. And that's it for this one. Exit only, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.